Good evening, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. I want to get on tonight and talk about Senate and what it means, what the roots are, how it's used today, and how we can use it in its original form to show them how it's used in the modern form because of its supplemental providence. And what we've got is, I was watching a video today, and I watched the guy for a while, and I hope you guys go check him out, DeleteLaws.com. DeleteLaws.com. DeleteLawz.com, I think it is. Let me see here. Yes, delete and then LAWZ.com. Go check him out. He's a constitutional educator. He's quite in depth with the Constitution. He knows what it's about. But again, as I've been explaining lately, that Constitution of the United States has a supplemental constitution that it is subject to. In other words, there is a constitution that was provided before that which then the Constitution of the United States was constructed under. So it's got a supplemental constitution. Now, this guy is like I said, a learned constitutionalist, but I'm hoping to be able to reach out to him to show him the greater importance of the Constitution of the Universal Postal Union. And so in the meantime, like I've expressed here recently in a few videos, the Postal Service, the Postal Union, is the one that regulates Congress, because the supplemental Congress that wrote the Constitution of the United States is supplemental also to the Congress of the Universal Postal Union, which is the union that wrote the Constitution of the Universal Postal Union, to which the Constitution of the United States is subject to. So the Congress of the United States of America was actually provided for by the Constitution of the Universal Postal Union and its Congress. Or the Congress of the Universal Postal Union and its Constitution. There we go. That's a better way to write it. Read it. Say it. Express it. And so this guy is one of those guys I'm hoping I can reach out to and help, because like I've been saying for a while now, we can neither sue nor be suable in those courts because we're not organized. We're not actually organized with that board of directors operating as a true firm or a partnership that can hire a lawyer through the board of directors. So we're not supposed to be using that stuff. When we find ourselves in that position, what are we left with? Well, I'm one of those guys. I've got my own private foundation set up, and I'm working on it. And as I continue on in my research, it does nothing but reinforce what I'm putting out there. So I wanted to take a look at the term Senate tonight, because this guy, he's working on this Kevin Kavanaugh guy down in Arizona who's putting forth a bill in the House and the Senate to try to make it unlawful or illegal, whatever, to video the police in their activities. And this is just ridiculous. I mean, who the hell believes that they can push something like this? And I'm going to destroy him in this one video by process. Because if this guy is a representative of Arizona and he's pushing this bill through both the House and the Senate himself, then he obviously doesn't understand the process. So let's go through this. I'm going to go through Senate real quick first. And then we're going to take a look at the process from Senate. Now, what I've got up here is Entom Online. It's one of my favorite sites for etymology because it's going to give us a few elements of the timeline, not just some kind of root. It's going to give us various elements. So in the use that we see today, Senate is a noun, and it's from circa 1200, legal and administrative body of ancient Rome. Okay? As today's use of a noun, that was created in circa 1200 by the evidently the legal and administrative body of ancient Rome. Okay? Now this term we're still using today. And we're still using it as a legal and administrative body of ancient Rome. From Old French Senate or Latin senatus. So we know its roots there in its formation as Senate came from French and Latin about the same time. They both kind of agreed, but yeah, let's build this together. And evidently they had some kind of similarity in language, kind of like Latin has a similarity with Greek. That's why we see today's English a mix of all of them. They just continue creating similarities, okay? Highest council of the state in ancient Rome. Literally, council of elders, okay? Now we're getting a little bit closer to the sense of it because it says council of elders from senex, genitive senus, old man, old. Now we're getting even closer, and this is from Pirut, sen, old. The Pirut, when we see later, you'll find out is Indo-European. Attested from the late 14th century in reference to governing bodies of free cities in Europe, of national governing bodies from 1550s, specific sense of upper house of U.S. legislature is recorded from 1775. Okay. Before we go any further, let's destroy Mr. Kavanaugh. Upper house of the U.S. legislature. The way this system works, folks, is if you're going to present a commercial bill, it gets presented to the House of Representatives. If you're going to propose something as law, it goes to the Senate. Now, if it goes to the House first and the House passes it, they pass it according to the acceptance and any amendments that they might line item veto through and amend. And that amendment, after it's been assessed by the House, by presentment of the representative, it then can go to the Senate. You don't present the same bill to both the House and the Senate. It don't work like that. That shows this idiot is in his dual-minded trying to assess the situation himself and get both houses to agree with him. That ain't the way it works. See, you got one guy, and he's got to go through one other first. Once it goes through that other, then it can get to the other party. That qualifies it. Okay? So if it then goes, if say he wants to make it a law, and so he's got to go through the Senate, it goes to the Senate. And what the Senate will do, in all cases, because they have to be able to make it equitable, which means they have to place anything in law into a commercial setting because all crimes are commercial. So once the House, the Senate passes it, in that passing, it will line item veto certain things and make certain amendments qualifying it for a commercial activity. Now, Mr. Kavanaugh, I don't care how much school you went through, but I assure you, you wasted your money, and the people voting on your dumb ass certainly don't know what the hell they're doing because they registered to vote and aren't even qualified, most likely. You have to take an oath in order to even qualify to be able to vote, people. You're claiming that you're a resident, and a resident specifically means a federal, state, or municipal officer or agent. Now, if you happen to try to be an agent and take upon a licensure, under that licensure, you still have to have an oath of office. But as an agent, you're not working on the clock for some kind of salary 24/7 as a public servant. You're qualified for time off because that contract somewhere should say at least 50%. One qualifying statement in there, and it's for the intent to conduct trade or business. Now, that term trade or business is going to find your ass sitting there performing the functions of public office during that 50% or more. And if you haven't taken an oath of office, you're not qualified. So let's get on with the rest of it. Sen, Proto-Indo-European root meaning old. It forms all or part of Monsignor, S-E. Senior, S-E. Senate, S-E-N. Senescent, S-E-N. Seneschal, S-E-N. Senecide, S-E-N. Senile, S-E-N. Senility, S-E-N. Senior, S-E-N. Seniority, S-E-N. Senior, S-E-N. Senora, S-E-N. Senorita, S-E-N. Sanachi, S-H-A-N. And Shannon. Oops. Let's go back. And then we have Signor, Sir, Sire, Surly. You see that? Everybody thinks that's a military term, huh? Why don't you show them how the roots show that it's not a military term, and your use of sir is appreciative that you're an old man that's wise from his experience, and he knows what the hell he's talking about. Surely. You see what they do to the language? Is that sign or sir? Title of honor of a knight or baronet until 17th century. Also, title of a priest. You know, the old man that you go to when you're in conflict and you do not want to go to war. Variant of sire, originally used only in unstressed positions. At attention, yes sir! Generalized as a respectful form of address. Generalized as a respectful form of address. By, are you dressed appropriately already? Shouldn't we address each other as neighbor? And only be sirs in private? Used as a salutation at the beginning of letters from early 15th century. Not an acronym of anything. Sire. Title placed before a name and denoting knighthood. Remember what I said the other day in the concise construction video about words denoting numbers, gender, and so forth, and the grammar of denotation and connotation. Okay? Knighthood from Old French sire, lord, appellation. When we talk about the true appellation, that's what we're talking about. We are not a tenant in lieu of the landlord. We are the Lord of the land, and we shall grant a redemption to the land, for we are strangers and sojourners with him on his land, which shall not be sold forever. Who the hell is confused about this? Sire, my lord. from Latin senior, from Latin senior, older, elder, from pi root sen, old, standing alone. He commanded, and it was done. He spake, and it stood. It did not say he spoke and somebody else wrote it down, and all of a sudden now it had magical standing. Sir, and meaning your majesty. It is attested from early 13th century general sense of important, importing and exporting those data elements, elderly man. The one that's going to give you wisdom by exporting his knowledge so you can make it import. And remember, people, the importer of the record is liable for that record. You better know what you're holding and what you've imported before you go exporting it. Coin your words or purse your lips. Is from mid-14th century, that of father, male, parent. Is from mid-13th century. When we see sin in the old, same thing. And it's going to give you its hypothetical source of evidence for his existence is provided by Sanskrit, sana, old, hana, old, hanata, old age, lapse of time, Armenian, hin, old, Greek, inos, old, of last year. See the difference? Lapse of time is a time period, whereas old is of last year. Lapse of time could be a future lapse of time. So that's kind of a denotation of the reality. Latin senilis, of old age, senex, old man. Lithuanian, senis. See, all these languages use the same root, generally meaning always the same thing. So what is oldest? These words, where in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was God. And if God is love, then the Word is love. So why does it take an old man? Aren't we born in love? See, the old man we have today is the guy that's got the wisdom of avoiding the war. So let's go back. Surly, haughty, imperious. Alteration of Middle English. Sirely, lordly, imperious. Literally, like a sir. See, that's what we've got with the Senate today. It's like a sir. It's like an old man, but it's not. An old man, Kevin Kavanaugh, he's just plain proving himself to be a plain idiot, dependent upon evidently a population of plain idiots that will put him in office to pose such idiocy on the public record as putting forth two bills, one to the House and one to the Senate, as if though he has that authority. You can't overstep your bounds and try to supersede the process as it's already set. If it's a commercial bill, it goes to the House. If you're posing that it's an actual law that says we can't press a record of things that we can see in public view, let me explain how Kevin Kavanaugh, total idiot. See, that record that he's trying to press there is a violation of international law. See, we have the right to press a record, and this dumb fool is trying to say that, well, no, you don't have a right to press a record if you want to film us. Treaty of Berne was not written as a naval treaty. It is the ultimate naval treaty for protection of the literary and artistic works, including but not conclusively just national treasures. Now, I'd like to ask everybody, is it the inanimate objects subject to literary and artistic work? Or is it the living being that creates that literature and artistic work that has superior protection through that set of treaties? See, this is what I've been trying to explain here lately, is all of these public trustees that are posing that they can use some kind of contract and enforce it against you, they're nothing but babbling idiots. And then when they sit there and try to pose these laws and stuff in front of the House and the Senate like this, it proves they're nothing but idiots. Just like California when they legislated the outlawing of plastic straws and ended up with a bunch of people said, okay, we'll quit using plastic straws and paper wraps, but we're going to use paper straws and plastic wraps. So, I hope everybody gets to realize who the real sir is, who the real old man is, who is it that instilled you with that spirit and gave you that breath of life, so that every act of God, or every breath of life was an act of God, so that you could prove his creativity by proving his will. See, it's not my will. My will is to be able to enhance the creativity that he instilled in me, and hopefully one day I hope to be able to add to that other people's abilities to be able to prove it better myself. And this is that sense of that anger and passion. Hopefully one of these days I'll be able to quell down and speak softly and quietly and very reasonably, and nobody will ever see any kind of anger or animosity in me, and I'll be able to bring it straight to the plate. One day I hope to be able to do that. And that's only because I can get it from him, because I'm certainly not going to get it from the documents of war. That's all military script. It's commercial paper known as fiat currency. Fiat currency is that of the commander. Commander is a military commander. Otherwise, you have the ability to exchange your value face to face. And you don't need to use seniority on it because, or if you do use seniority, you're both looking at the same senior, the same father, the same old man. Recognize the reality that we're both in image and likeness. And that's what makes us the same outwardly. Inside, that spirit, that's what allows us to breathe, so we can communicate with each other and recognize that image and likeness. We can do the same thing with animals and plants, all kinds of life. We know how to nurture plants. We see all kinds of natural plants out in the wild that, yeah, they do pretty good for the wild. But if you try to grow a tomato plant out in the wild, it doesn't last very well. But if you groom it, you can really get some shit out of them. So think about it and realize when it comes to the old man is the knowledge and the wisdom that came before and came before and came before. You know, when you start following, like I said, I've been doing etymology for a long time, and when you follow it back, it's always going to come back to the old man. Always. Everywhere. Every place you go, it's his house. It's not the House of Representatives. That representative doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. How do we know this? Because he's not talking to him. And he sure as hell ain't using his word. Because his word says express what is true. Thou shalt not lie upon thy brother. And these cops, these illicit police, pushing some kind of martial law policy, which is chiefly affects the police and the collection of public revenue and taxes for the Army and its use and safety of its operations, should tell you that the police are military officers and they're only supposed to be doing it to each other. Responsible to one another and to God are those that are arming themselves in manner of public war. I'm not in their public war. I've never carried a weapon on me. How could I ever have been in their public war? This is an impossibility. Whereas the opposite is true, that if they're carrying an arm on them, a weapon, they're part of the militia act, known as a Dick Act, and that's for preparation of war, and therefore they're already in the war by wearing that armor instead of the full armor of God and remaining in peace. Sun Tzu, the art of war, to defeat one's opponent without fighting, is of supreme excellence. That supreme excellence is provided by him. It's his grace, his favor. This is why David didn't put on all that armor that his community was trying to offer him. It would outweigh him. It would hold him down. He had to be in his own natural habit. Not habitat, habit. As we see in Senate. It's not habitat, it's habit, your own habit. It's what's custom to you. That's the custom law. So anyway, remember guys, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be doing this. God bless. Have a great night.